Congratulations, African. Take your winnings.
Condolences on your loss.
Loss. Look at them. They want blood. They're all Romans now.
All right. Greetings and citations, all my beloved airborne simians, and what up to any visiting sports fans? Oh, it's Stupid Ball Sunday. Fuck sports. So we'll send this invite to the team. Have to. It's Bill's show. All right. Let's just spend an extra 3 minutes on the percussion rather than just fading the fucking song out. That's the only problem with the club and the house and the dubstep and all that. They just don't know when enough is enough. All right, we're done. Love you guys. You guys are the best. Yeah, it's not just, let's call it exercise music. Loud Italian. You're a dick and you know. Love you, Rich. Thank you. That's me. Love you guys. You guys are the best. You guys are the best. 4 flames right off the bat. Love you guys. When's your test, your selection? You got to give me the update, Rich. All right. Let's jump right into this, shall we? So I sent some love to my dear friend Bill Hughes. I'm desperate for background noise. I'm desperate for something that's not going to aggravate me. So I continue to return to Bill and his series Behind the Door. And Bill's apparently still cracking them out. I love you, Bill. I love you, William. Thank you, pal. That's pretty good. That's a great promo. Apparently Bill Hughes is still cranking out. Oh, you put it on Zilla. That's great. Okay. You have to put some sticky tape on there and so it'll stay and then wear them both. That's awesome. You're the best, bud. Too funny. Apparently Bill Hughes is still cranking out Behind the Doors. Somebody told me he just put out another one, whatever, 35, 37, something like that. Good for him. I just sent him some love in an email. And I said, Bill, bear me out on this. I said, outside of the Jesuits pretending to be preachers, like that piece of shit, like that homo Jesuit Steven Anderson, there is nobody with the cojones of Bill Hughes to regularly call out false flags. Waco, 9/11, Oklahoma City. That's all part of his Behind the Door series. He doesn't stay on every single. What are we? I told you, we're like one every 2 weeks. Now we're like one a week.
Yeah, I got to find those because I find his other ones where he's talking with another guy and. They keep rehashing the same old investigative judgment.
There's a playlist. There's a playlist. There's a Behind the Door playlist.
Yeah, right.
Here, I'll give it for you.
Yeah.
Hang on. You're going to make me bring up my...
Sure, why not?
You're going to make you work today. Browser.
Does it make you any braver?
Yeah, no, it does not. So after doing that, I pulled up some old Ole Damigard because I had recommended Ole to Bill. I said, this poor guy's not saved, but he's damn good on the false flags. Let's see here.
And dastard.
I'm not going to share it. I'm just going to get the link. All right, there we go. Try it in the chat first. Wow, is that it already? Rich, lightning fast? It is. It is. Lightning fast on the draw. Rich has already got it in the chat. Do you need it in the Zoom chat or is that good enough for you, Bill? You're muted, pal.
Sorry, I'm already subscribed to him. I've been
No. Listen, it's not
getting
the
all these-
subscription. It's a special playlist. You
Oh,
go to
okay.
that playlist and you only get the behind the door. You don't get all the mini-me's talking about how brilliant LNG plagiarist was. That's
Gotcha.
much more. Trust me, my stomach lining can't handle that either. Okay.
Yeah.
Well done, Rich.
I put up with it for over 10 years. I know.
Yeah. Well, you know what? But you grew out of it, so let's not go backwards.
I don't want to.
Mark says Nazis protesting in Florida yesterday had a guy called Boniface who went to Ukraine to fight with the Azov battalion, more Jesuit theater to censor the masses. Yep. Perfectly worded. Well done, Mark. He does. Steven Anderson needs a punch to the ding ding.
Yeah.
He needs an uppercut to the ding ding.
Because
Because
they did when I was a kid, they take a big long stick.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
because I didn't want to get that close to him.
Because the goal is to imitate us, to mock and lampoon us. No different than Donald Trump. It's exactly what Donald Trump does. Donald Trump, pun intended, apes right wingers. He apes right wingers. He pretends to be right-minded. Steven Anderson, much more so. Steven Anderson, his mission is to pretend to be us, to pull in the sheeple and say, and the sheep will point their finger at him and say, "Oh yeah, that's a Baptist preacher," and look at all the mean, nasty, evil things he's saying. Oh, is that what the right-wing Christians believe?
Yeah, that's the way all of them are. They just have different ways of going about it. It's the same thing with Applegate, Calvary Chapel. All of them. They are geared. They are trained to reach a certain crowd. Now, the crowd that Applegate gets, they're not going to be able to stand in Anderson's realm. So they had to get somebody like a John Corson or a Ben Corson or a Chuck Smith, all those people. It's the same way with the Pentecostals. You want to get, if you're into prosperity and name it and claim it. Okay, well,
Perfectly put, Bill. That's very well put. They are you have that. All right, who is going to sit in a room with Steven Anderson or who is that King James Nazi? Who is that KKK clown?
Was it White? I want to say James White.
No.
The
Open
King
James White is awful, but what is his name? I've already frozen it out of my memory.
Yeah. There's my neighbor up north.
There is the hawk.
Another Hawkeye Clint.
The hawk is flying overhead.
I was wondering why he was doing those late night lives. I'm about ready to go to bed, and he goes live on YouTube, and it's 11 o'clock at night, and I'm going, Hawkeye, aren't you up a little late tonight?
Hey, not in your time zone. Peter Ruckman. Ruckman.
Oh, Peter Ruckman.
So who's going to sit in the audience with Peter Ruckman and Steven Anderson? No. So in order to capture more, you bump it over a little bit more towards the center and still be just as rotten with the Calvary Chapels, the John Corsons, the John and Ben Corsons.
That's why Satan invented all these different denominations or demonations.
Right.
So they can cater to the different crowds.
Right.
Not everybody goes to Dunkin' Donuts for breakfast. Some of them go to Denny's. Some of them, I could go on, but I won't.
All right, so let's jump right into and Richard, you were just so good on fast, quick draw on that. I can't believe that John Paul's not going to be with us because All right, first let me do this because I know the Hawk might have something on false flags. Barcelona was the Ariana Grande jihadi bombing. Manchester was another plowing through the innocents on the sidewalk. This was a jihadi in a van. Do you know that they claim so blown cover is cover? When they recycle their crisis actors, they know they're going to get caught. So what do? They claim it is real. They have this clown. And of course, look at this. Of course, they don't show you the picture of this clown so they can use him again. The entire article, are you fucking kidding me? The entire article is about, look at these fucking Jesuit, CIA, MI6 scum. The entire article is about this clown that was in both, and there's no pictures of the clown. Chris Pauly.
I was shocked by that. Yeah, I was shocked by that too. Where's the footage? Where's the,
Chris Lionpaw.
Yeah, Lion's Paw. Yeah, all right, here he is. Really with this? The crisis actor that they recycle repeatedly. All right. He looks desperate. He looks like he plays Dungeons and Dragons. He looks like he's desperate for some notoriety. The entire article is about this clown that miraculously survived multiple false flags, and there's not a single picture of him. Why? Because they want to protect his identity and keep using him. You Jesuit propaganda, yellow piss rag journal scum.
Yeah, and there in the lower third, you have your Golden Arches, sponsored by
the
Ronald
Knights of
McDonald.
the Golden Arches. Let me tell you something. Yeah. John Paul nailed it out of the park. When that piece of shit Wells inducted what that clown PK22 and Weiss, right? He did that on the air. Do you think for a second that they don't know exactly what they're doing? That they're fishing? Do you think for a second that they don't know that that's going to make his very audience, the very audience that clown John B. Wells tailors to? I hereby induct you into the order of the Knights of the Scratchy Smoker Circle. Fucking clown. Daniel, I don't know what the fuck happened to this guy, Daniel. Sends me this email. Oh, Johnny, you are the greatest thing since sliced bread. And I take the time to address his long note, and hopefully I didn't scare him away because I did that. And I got nothing back. Who the fuck does that? Who goes and takes a fan's heartfelt note and goes line by line on his fucking show? Dude, did you drop off the flat earth? Part of it is, oh, Johnny, it's the Sabbatine. Johnny, you are so right. It's the Sabbatine Francus. I have never fucking said that. You're saying it's the Jews. Are you fishing me? Are you PH fishing me? Oh, Johnny, you are so good. You are so right to be blaming Jews. I don't fucking blame Jews. Where are you? Anyway, much love to you, Daniel. I'm sure I'm getting you wrong. Where the fuck did you go? You're welcome. All right. That was from giving me that Chris Pauly. So, big picture. Again, go back. And my beloved brother from another mother, Jesus saved Darnell.
How you guys doing?
Love you, pal. So I sent some. I don't think I did not carbon copy you guys. My love to Bill Hughes for having the courage to talk about false flags as a pastor. Nobody else. And I told him specifically, I said, how many times did Walter do it? 3, 5 tops. Talk about false flags. Never again. Walter is a mess. Walter Veith is a mess. Walter Veith is a cowardly mess. He is the cowardly lion. We need to do that. I need to Photoshop Walter's face on the cowardly lion.
He's the, what was that? The headless horseman. Who was the
Ichabod Crane?
Yeah.
No, I
he's
like
the
I like the
Ichabod.
lion better than Ichabod Crane. I like the lion better than Ichabod Crane. Although you're right, you're right. There is an aspect of running scared. There is an aspect of running scared. Now I just got a picture of that stupid Talking Heads music video. You know, the Hawk knows what I'm talking about. Walter is a mess. Walter is a mess and a coward. And I'll bet you he get paid. I'll bet you a huge part of this, guys, is he gets paid well from the Adventist Church. I will guarantee you.
I bet you if you look up how much he's worth, he's probably up there with Corson and
I'll bet you
He's
got
got some
those
good
that other
production people.
egghead. Yeah.
He's got
You
some good
bet.
production
Right,
people
right,
working.
Darnell. Brilliant insight. Look at the
I
production
envy that.
value of his vids. I mean, there's, very often there's like 20 people in the audience, but that doesn't matter. What matters is phenomenal video production, and they reach hundreds of thousands around the world.
They invest thousands and tons of money. Because I worked at an affiliate of 3ABN here in Grants Pass, and they spent, I don't know, numerous amounts for upgrading to digital, then to HD and all that. That took a lot of money, and it was from fleecing the flock.
How even just noting production value again, noting the sound quality, which is everything.
It's all state of the art stuff, Clint. It's just because I've worked with all that stuff. I know exactly what they have, and but that's the way they are. They've got to have the latest. They've got to have the greatest. Everything state of the art in order to be successful, and they go after the flock. They go. Last time we did a camp meeting, a Seventh-day Adventist camp meeting at the one of the academies. My wife was there, and she said they got up and said, there's over $1,000 in this audience. We need you to dig deep. I mean, became like a Kenneth Copeland meeting. They were preaching almost prosperity. They kept, and people were elderly people were forking up hundreds and thousands of dollars of money that they don't even have to survive. And they put it all into thinking that this is for God.
Bill, check this out,
They
Bill.
think-
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Darnell. You first, and then I'll go. Go ahead, Darnell.
Yeah, I was going to say, those older people, they think, well, I can't take it with me. I'll just give it to them. They're good people. They're just fleecing them.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
the
the
latest scam. This started about over 10 years ago now, is estate planning. I don't know if you guys heard
I've
about
been at a prosperity church that did that. Yeah.
Yeah, is that give us your money when you pass away. In other words, you sign off, all that money that's supposed to go to family members and stuff. They sign it over to the church. So when they die, the church gets their money. It's the latest scam.
Totally unbiblical. Yeah.
Look at who the Seventh-day Adventist Church has pulled into their orbit. Dr. Peter McCullough. My beloved Hello Friends Shell Ultra Shelly. Great find, Shelly. Peter McCullough.
Terrible nutritional state there, and then the story of
Peter McCullough. So I was listening to this in the background, so I don't have the time marks on it. He is all into his Irish, not Catholic heritage, immigrant, like second generation Irish, all into it. He comes just short of talking about how the potato famine was seeded by the evil limeys, which it was through Freemasonry from the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church used her Freemasonic scum, British politicians, to mass murder Irish to push them into Romerica. And he knows all about it. Just hyper all into his ethnicity. And yet supposed like Presbyterian, some kind of religionist Protestant. and not Adventist. And yet he says, I wish I had the time mark. I was shocked at the reach of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. I was shocked to find out their reach. You piece of shit. By the way, supposed good Christian, right? His wife is ethnic, like Filipino or something like that. And I thought there might be she might be Catholic too. But he didn't, I think he said something else. And here again, what do you see here? No wedding band. No wedding band.
I'm sure these people are fighting Rome, Johnny. They're fighting Rome, and they don't want to play into the whole ring thing because they're fighting Rome.
Yeah.
I'm being sarcastic.
Yeah, I know you are, pal. I know you are. What is much more possible, much more, I don't want to say likely, but to me likely, is these are Luciferians. These are Luciferians that have no, that they're very, very corrupt and compromised. They're very corrupt and compromised. Very corrupt and compromised. At one point, he says he was doing 16 interviews a day. At one point, he brags, I told Tucker Carlson, I'm on TV more than you are, and that's absolutely true. Big, bold, compromising piece of shit. You better believe he knows it. The billions of dollars of big pharma behind this piece of shit, because he was the purple pill to the Q-tards. Oh, the vaccine is bad. The tyranny is bad. The virus is real, but the vaccine is bad. The tyranny is bad. Trust your doctors. Well, there's some good doctors and some bad. No, you bastard. Big money behind. I really suspect this guy knows. I really suspect this guy knows, for all of his bluster about being Christian. I cannot be sure. There's middle ground. Look, another one that escapes me. And I'll take your input on this, guys.
It's pretty good though. If you can be canceled and do 16 interviews a day.
Right,
that's
right.
great.
Oh, poor Peter McCullough is canceled. Peter McCullough's been fired. Peter McCullough's been deleted. He's been canceled. And you better believe he's making more money now than he ever did as a doctor. You better believe it, pal. You better. Great insight again, Darnell. Jesus save Darnell. Another one. Where's my notes? Where are my notes on this? Oh, wait. Before we go, the very reason for Shell Ultra sending this
about
listen to him,
the blight of the potatoes.
Listen to him
the disease
kiss LNG plagiarist ass. Listen to this.
Was that Ellen White saw the future that we're living out right now. It's clear.
At the end of his big speaking engagement, they came up and they gave him, hey, Dr. McCullough, do you have the great controversy? Here's the big, bold, gold letter edition. Here we go. Oh, thank you so much, guys. Listen to what he says. The great find again. Hello, friend Shelley.
Ellen White will gain an understanding that Ellen White saw the future that we're living out right now. It's clear.
Wow.
It's clear. You can all see it.
Listen to that, Sabaton.
And so my time with the Adventists has been wonderful. In Berrien Springs, several times, Tampa, Phoenix, several times.
He's riding the circuit, guys. The bastards, the General Conference, demonic General Conference scum, they've got this compromising bastard riding the circuit. Listen to me. Big picture. These people, the Robert Francis adulteries, the Del Big Dicks, the Peter McCulloughs, the Sherry Tenpences, Carrie Medesias, these people are far more evil than the Nancy Pelosi's and the Joe Bidens. Far more evil. Far more evil. Because their job is to take people that are semi-awake and keep them asleep. Their job is to take the dangerous semi-awake and keep them asleep. They are evil. They are far more dangerous. And it's the General Conference scum that are promoting pieces of shit like this and getting this guy on the circuit. Evil.
Yeah, and they also prop people up. They dug up Little Richard a few years back. You remember Little Richard? He was a real famous musician.
To do
who
what?
also
They dug him up to
claimed-
do what?
He claimed when he was younger that he was a Seventh-day Adventist. Well, he was dying, of course, and he decided to come back to his church, and they exploited him all over 3ABN. They got a chance to interview him. He was so old, so feeble that a few months later he died, but they promoted the heck out of it because they interviewed Little Richard because he came back to the fold.
Well, before that, I think there's a pretty good chance that you might see that guy again. That guy was bold for Christ long before his deathbed reconversion to Adventism. I don't know why you're coming up with this. I just happen to have, not ready, but happen to have seen. I don't know if it'll come up for me.
So now I guess Peter McCullough, maybe he's got 17, 18 interviews a day. What he got on the SBA circuit?
Right. Letterman. So here it is. I don't know where this came from. I think you're inspired, pal. Little Richard on Letterman, bold for Christ. How I used to be young, drugs, homosexuality, and now I'm all in for Christ. Let's see here. Just watch this. I don't know how it is. They mocked him with the title. So these clowns.
Would sound like if our next
Little Richard says he's not gay anymore. Is that
along
is that
with
what?
Elvis Presley and Chuck Berry? He is one of the both tonight. Please welcome.
No. They took what was the most outrageous aspect and made that the title for these scum. A great interview. He's got a lot of charisma, and I'm sure his preaching was phenomenal.
Well, he goes back and forth. He's banned back and forth, but the last time he was on television, he was on 3ABN, and he was
back and forth with what?
Much long with his Seventh-day Adventism, because he'd go back and forth. He would come out and start preaching and saying he's full on. And then years later, he's back in the concert circuit singing Tutti Frutti and all that, and get back into.
Are they exclusive? Are they exclusive? Does that mean that every time that he's singing rock, that he's backslidden? Is that exclusive?
Well, I'm not saying I don't know have proof of that, but I'm just saying he goes through. Because there's been many a times where he gave up and said, "Oh, rock and roll's of the devil," and it got me into drugs and sex and homosexuality. He walked away from it, and then all of a sudden, years later,
he never said that on the Letterman show. He never said, "I swear off my rock and roll past." In fact, while he's saying he's born again, he's still bragging about how he was foundational to rock and roll. So I would like to see that. I would like to see him claim that he needed to get away from rock and roll because it pulled him into sin. Anyway.
How many homosexual groups are protesting Little Richard?
I haven't. This is news to me. I haven't seen any. So are you saying that his walking away was not legit, Darno?
I'm skeptical. I'm real skeptical.
Okay.
Yes,
he could be another Lonnie Frisbee. Could be another Lonnie Frisbee.
Just noting, no, this is just. I don't know a lot about Little Richard, what Richard Wayne Penniman, but in '52, Little Richard or Penniman's father was murdered. Don't know how at the moment. Little Richard now became the family's main source of income. So, is this a father sacrifice? I think the wiki page notes that Little Richard's father was a bricklayer may not be an actual ordained or initiated Freemason, but could be something to, as well as having some kind of role in a. Where is it? His father was a church deacon and a brick mason who sold bootleg moonshine on the side and owned a nightclub called the Tip In Inn. anyway, mother was a member of New Hope Baptist, so a Baptist church. So interesting connections. I found very religious, joined various AME, Baptist and Pentecostal churches. So you have this multi denominational integration in inception, if you will. Anyway, and then of course the death of the father. And if that was 1952, the death of Richard's father, or little Richard Wayne Penniman, and Penniman was born in 1932. So then he would have been 20 years old. So not old, not young, but in the midst of his up and coming rising star potential. Again, I don't know the timeline yet. I don't know if I'd invest the time into that, but that's just what I see right now.
And also, did they not know that he's born again and still gave him the massive media coverage of that bucktooth clown Letterman? There's another Rojo Chaptal.
Okay, how about this? So again, just noting, so the father being murdered in 1952, and then just Wikipedia noting that known professionally as Little Richard was an American singer, pianist, songwriter, influential figure in popular music and culture for 7 decades.
He said pianist.
Described as the architect of rock and roll. Richard's most celebrated work dates from the mid-50s. So right after his father.
We're going to go right into Jimmy Buffett. One or two hits ride these people into mega stardom, mega wealth. Jimmy Buffett's got like 3 or 4 planes and he's crashing them and he's flying. How the fuck did one get this guy with this one clown song, this one stupid song, and he's a multi-millionaire. He's given huge sums to Hillary Clinton. Before we go to that, the now dead stepped on a pop. I wanted to mention this. Plausible deniability. So you guys, I love it. I love it. When in doubt, be skeptical. When in doubt, be skeptical. I want to ask you about this.
Or be skeptical first. Skeptical and cynical.
I stand corrected. I stand corrected.
Approach it all.
Start with healthy skepticism. Walk through, and finish with a healthy dose of skepticism. The 2011 Prophecy Harvest Crusade Prophecy Conference, put on by $20 million of assets Greg Laurie, starring Mr. Futurist Rapture Tim LaHaye. On the stage, to the far right, I wish it were far right, and I say this tongue-in-cheek, my beloved Skip Heitzig. Why would you have Skip Heitzig come out for a prophecy conference? What aspect of the prophecy conference did Skip cover? I don't know. I probably should grab this. This is all heavily marketed, heavily copyrighted. Heavily marketed and copyrighted. You're not going to really get the DVD off this. You're not going to get copies of this floating around everywhere. If you guys find it, send it to me. I'm sure it'll be very aggravating to me. Messianic Jew, futurist, Jesuit, Joel Richardson is here. One over from the right. In the middle is the premier expert on Christian biblical eschatology, Army General Jerry Boykin. What? What is Jerry Boykin doing headlining a prophecy conference? What is Jerry Boykin big on? Jerry Boykin is big. That's why he's sitting next to Joel Rosenberg. They all blame those evil jihadis. They all blame the evil jihadis. So I spent a lot of time dwelling on this, and you guys don't know any more than I do, but I look back on the career of a guy like Jerry Boykin, and he spent some time in the CIA. Let me get his resume. Let me get his. Oh, he was in. Oh my goodness! Check this out.
This whole post 9/11 hate the Muslims things is like the gift that keeps on giving to these bad guys, man.
Well put, Darnell. Well put, Darnell. To Christians, it is the gift that the Jesuits continue to reap from dumbass, ignorant, naive Christians.
It's like, let's make Albert Pike's letter come true. 9/11.
This is, yeah, right. This is not, okay, check this out. This is not hearsay. For instance, Jerry Boykin's Vatipedia. Jerry Boykin's Vatipedia acknowledges him as a Knight of Malta. Jerry Boykin's Vatipedia acknowledges him as a Knight of Malta. For instance, Sammy Davis Jr., there's been research that claims that Sammy Davis Jr. was punked by phony Knights of Malta. He was punked. He's not really a Knight of Malta. When he was, first he was a Satanist, then he became a Knight of Malta. And there's an article out there that claims he was punked. It was phony Knight of Malta. Whether that's true or not, check this out.
Hey, remember, a healthy dose of skepticism. As public as that was, again, before my time, I have no idea. But the fact that the circulating images, it's not like it was hidden. The images of him in the Cape.
Here's something different. That is, he wore, first of all, can I tell you that anyone that retires, big picture, anyone that retires and regularly puts on his active duty uniform with all his shit up and down the side, get a fucking life. Get a fucking life. You are not in the fucking military anymore. You do not rate a salute unless you've been awarded the Pentagram Medal of Honor. That's the only award that rates you a salute, no matter what your rank, no matter whether you're active or not. Get a fucking life. Retired, and look at this, Hawk. Did I leave it up? Look at this, Hawk. He wore his Knight of Malta ribbon and medal like it was awarded to him from the fucking United States government. He wore it with the rest of his uniform. So where the fuck is this bastard's loyalty?
In a little unkempt fashion as well, though. That's what's striking about this photo. Right? The lack of uniformity. It's not symmetrical. Like,
well, he's sitting down at an angle. He's sitting at an angle.
I'm not worried
about that.
I'm
worried about the fact that he's got.
But presentation to me, in part, is that especially who they are. If something about the presentation is something interesting about this photo. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, it looks like it wasn't even. It looks like it was just somebody walk up to him. Hey, General, can I have your picture? Yeah, sure. Go ahead, take my picture. That's what it looks like to me. The fact that listen to me. This is treason. This is treason. To wear a device given to you by an entity other than the United States government, along with the United States military uniform, is treason. It's treason. Is it possible that guys like that go through their entire careers? Let me read for you his. Let me read for you the notes on his resume and see what you guys think. I think it's still possible that he was duped. He's still alive, right? Possible he is duped. Oh my goodness, I forgot to tell you this. Hang on. Forgot to tell you this. Joel Rosenberg born on August 17th. Joel Rosenberg, born on August 17th. William Gerald Jerry Boykin, born on August 19th.
New Jersey general dates on August 19th, and Bill Clinton birthday.
Jerry Boykin was the operations officer behind the Iranian rescue catastrophe. It was his fucking plan. He wasn't in charge. Beckwith, Mr. Delta Force, was in charge. Boykin was the operations officer. By the way, I learned Aikido from a Hawaiian captain that was on that mission, Wade Ishimoto. I learned Aikido from that fucking guy. He was a dick. He was an anti-gun dick. He was an anti-gun dick. Got into a fucking gun confiscation argument with me, and then just, I'm the great Wade Ishimoto. Fucking clown. And by the way, Aikido is a fucking joke. Aikido is a fucking joke, and that figures, okay? He's not fucking Steven Seagal. You might think he is. Operations
Aikido.
officer. Hang on, let me give you his resume real quick. Colombia, 92, 93, Colombia, Pablo Escobar. And Escobar was killed, and supposedly it was not part of the mission. He was supposed to be captured. And there's controversy. Oh, they exceeded their authority and whacked him. Maybe he is a true believer and say, you know what? This is the richest drug dealer in the world. I'm going to kill him. April 1993, Boykin helped advise Janet Reno on Waco. Boykin advised Janet Reno on Waco. Are you fucking kidding me? I am not. Boykin served with the CIA. Deputy Director of Special Activities. Really, what were the special activities? Let's see here. And they gave him his usual, another guy, I'm going to put him on the list. Another college retirement reward. Another college retirement reward. He was put on the rolls at Hampton, Sydney, and then fired because of the things he said about transgenders. Then Tony Perkins, Tony Perkins put him on the board of the Family Research Council. Is it possible, guys, that you can be that blind? Do you think this guy, for all of his CIA, jihadi fighting, biblical Christian Knight of Malta, do you think he's just sincerely snowed or a Luciferian? I don't know. Excuse me. Hawk, do you had something related, or you're going to pull a George?
Oh,
is Rich still there? I'd love to get Rich's opinion on that. Oh, Lauren. Lauren says, go ahead.
I was just going to ask about this. So when the Aikido, is that the discipline with the staff or the stick? And then there was as soon as you say Delta Force, back to this idea.
Hey, wait. You're a dick. No, stop. You're a dick. You ducked out of the watermark and shoved poor Darnell into the watermark. You're a dick. You need to shut me up and say, drop the, you're a dick. You're the kind of guy, when you're out there walking in the woods and a bear attacks, you grab your buddy, shove him at the bear, and you fucking run. You're a dick. You don't fucking do that. You shut me up and say, take down the watermark, not whoop.
I shut my camera off.
You're a dick.
I had to walk
you don't do that. You don't fucking do that.
Thanks, Hawk.
You're a dick.
It's unintentional.
No, yeah. It's unintentional. Whoop.
You know me. I would rather be 20 miles.
All right, finish your thought.
So Aikido with the stick.
Right. It's a bow. It's called a bow.
Thank you very much.
Jalapeno on the dick.
And then instant association when you say Delta Force is Chuck Norris and Lee Marvin going back into the 80s, the Delta Force series films.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Oh, all the bullshit hype. Yes. Oh, all the big hype. Good for you.
The soldiers, the men in black show up, and as soon as Chuck Norris shows up, everything's all good. Everything's all good.
And Lauren, brilliant. Lauren, you're a veteran. Lauren, I'd like to get Lauren. Tell me in the chat. Lauren, tell me in the chat. That's exactly right. He's out of uniform. You do not rate wearing your active duty uniform when not active duty. That is out of uniform. Love to see what actually, yes, Bo. It's a B-O, Bo, staff. Lauren, do you think guys like that? Do you think that Jerry Boykin is sincerely have his head up his ass? Or is he a Luciferian? Is he a knowing, willing Luciferian? I think Peter McCullough is a better chance of being a knowing, willing Luciferian than Jerry Boykin. I just don't know how you spend time. A guy like Michael Thomas, General Flynn. Yep. No, tell me, pal. Yep, what? You think he's a Luciferian or what? I'd say either or. You got to tell me either or. A guy like Flynn, who ran the Defense Intelligence Agency, there's no way. Look what Flynn did. You claim that there's systemic child trafficking, and then you sweep it under the carpet after you get your guy in office? What a satanic piece of shit, Irish Roman Catholic New Age piece of shit you are, Flynn, you piece of shit. To ride the bodies of children for your political gain, you piece of shit. So that pedophile, incest pedophile can become empowered, you scumbag. All right. That's all I had on Boykin and that conference, prophecy conference. Jerry Boykin. The fuck is Jerry Boykin going to tell me about eschatology? About scripture, about prophecy, about revelation? Nothing about revelation. You're not going to touch revelation, are you? You frauds. You Luciferian fraud scum. I'll tell you guys.
Like I said, they prop these people up to make legitimacy out of their false doctrine of prophecy.
Yeah. Yes. It's the fanfare behind the bullshit. I'm sorry, the fanfare smokescreen in front of the bullshit. That's right. They can't have any substance. They can't have anybody that knows what they're talking about the Bible. Instead, they bring the war hero in to wave the flag.
He must know,
or Dr. LaHaye.
He must know what he's talking about because he served, so he's a man not just of authority.
But thank you for your service, General.
It's a great free pass, right? Free pass.
Let's play the national anthem.
Check your brain at the door, and then it keeps spinning the wheel of futurism.
Yeah, and Lori is a Luciferian piece of shit. Lori knows this. He is a full-on lay Jesuit. Just like Chuck Satanic Missler, a lay Jesuit. His entire career, he never once said the word Jesuit. You get what you, I'm not going to say it. You are Judge Chuck Missler. You are absolutely you are reaping what you have sown. The disinformation, how much harm you did to me, you are reaping what you have sown, Chuck Missler.
Absolutely. All these Greg Laurie's and all these guys, what keeps them relevant is they get these people like Mel Gibson. And I don't know why, but Greg Laurie also did a documentary on Steve McQueen, because supposedly there was a deathbed confession before he died of cancer.
McQueen.
Tonight I have the
supposed conversion
director of
took
that
place
film, Academy
before the
Award.
deathbed. But if I remember
okay.
remember the narrative, McQueen died with the Billy Graham Bible on his chest.
Oh, I didn't know that part. But
all right, now
what's
I give that not to step on you guys, but I give that plausible deniability. I would say it's possible that Steve McQueen did get his soul saved just in time. The reason why Greg Laurie would ride Steve McQueen's notoriety is not so much that McQueen was a fraud, but he's dead. You're not risking people actually coming to Christ by interviewing Steve McQueen. You're going to ride the legend of Steve McQueen. So that was safe for this satanic scumbag.
Yeah, there's a lot of energy, and think of the generation of men that are still alive that come from look
Mel
up to
looks like he had a few
the McQueen figure, and then of course there's the automobile, and then there's the motorcycle aspect of the McQueen narrative too, and it just the resurgence in the last few years of certain models of vehicles that are in a way commemorate. So the Steve McQueen colored green Mustang, and the Triumph Bonneville or Scrambler, which particularly was reintroduced and then used in recent films, like Chris Pratt rode a McQueen-esque Triumph Scrambler in Jurassic. The resurgence of the Jurassic World type films. So on. Anyway, we're bridging gaps here, but by using little vehicles to continue this narrative. And then of course Laurie, I think even the film that Bill had mentioned, like that's like 2018, 2019. This is really recent. I never saw it. It actually it never even came to a local theater, so I never got the chance to see it.
Yeah, but it's on the internet somewhere, and it's narrated by Greg Laurie.
But just noting, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. I'm finished.
All right, let me hang on. I've got some stuff. Hang on,
sure.
My Hawk. Real quick, did this guy? Hang on. Did this guy fill a stadium? Did Laurie fill a stadium? That is not. Narrow is the way. Wide is the path of destruction. Is that any different? Is that any different from this? How many altar calls? How many altar calls? Is that what it means to have your soul saved, to be born again? Is that what it means to be born again? Is to have is to follow a formula? Say this, do this, spin around 3 times. Is that any different from the Catholic Church? No. And what have you guys, Bill? Let me go ahead and put words in your mouth, but I'm just repeat you actually. If any of the numbers were remotely accurate, if a fraction of the numbers of the Billy Graham stadium salvations, that is what you call a sea change. That's a revolution. That many millions of born-again Christians, that's a sea change. That changes the complexion. That would do exactly what the whore Catholic Church has done to this country with millions upon millions upon millions of Roman Catholic illegals. Right now, there is a convict running around my neighborhood. Right now. A convict that broke out of prison. You know what he is? He's a fucking Brazilian illegal alien who murdered his girlfriend in public. And he escaped from prison, and now everybody's shitting themselves because he's running around loose. And what is the story? So my wife told me when it happened 2 days ago. She says he's still loose. I said, what? Okay, so now I need to step up and I need to think tactically. I should have done that as soon as she said so. What is he convicted of? Oh, he's a Brazilian who murdered his girlfriend in public. He's a Brazilian. He's a Another fucking illegal million. That's a sea change. What the whore has done with millions and millions. And let me go back to that Cucker Tarlson. And the orange cock, the orange fellas. Well, the first time around, you were going to build a wall. What are you going to do the second time around? What bullshit are you going to blow? What smoke are you going to blow up the asses of the moron Q-tards who are going to vote for you? The bullshit, the fraud of the people that don't exist, that are going to start a revolution to put you in office, even that is contrived CIA bullshit. There's nobody out there willing to go to jail, willing to be killed, willing to be shot by cops just to put that orange cock back in office. I promise you. I promise you. All right, back to you guys had a lot that I stepped on, but I wanted to get those thoughts out. And let me pause and answer the chat real quick as you guys think of what you're going to say. Mikhail, much love to you. Isn't Aikido unarmed combat, supposedly using the force of the enemy against him, deflecting? That is the philosophy behind Aikido. And I love it. I love it. If I had the money of Greg Laurie, I would get into the real shit. I'd get into Muay Thai and striking and jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu. And then I'd hire a guy, and there's a guy out there, he's an English guy, who does like real Aikido, like attempts to do street Aikido. The biggest problem with Aikido is Japan. The biggest problem with Aikido is Japan. Is in class, you're told, all right, you come at the instructor, you do this, the instructor will do this, and you fly across the room. Okay? You will do that. And if you're any way disloyal to your instructor, we will boot your ass out of here. You bow to the dead sensei at the beginning of the room, every time you come in, every time you go out. It is the mindset, when I do this, you will do this. Well, guess what? On the street, that's not what they do. Okay?
Sounds like you're in a dance class.
Right, exactly. It's a choreographed dance class. And yet the philosophy is wonderful. The philosophy, Aikido is Japanese, not wushu. What is the Chinese relaxation martial art? You guys are awful. What is the Chinese relaxation martial art?
Tai Chi.
Tai Chi.
Thank you, William Darnell. Good. Tai Chi.
Netflix.
Yeah, Netflix. That's what it is. Yeah, right. Out of Netflix, the Tai Chi Badass with Keanu Reeves and what's his name? Right out of Netflix. Aikido is Japanese Tai Chi. It is phenomenal, and there's some really great joint manipulation techniques. It's not a total joke. And it is about using your opponent's energy against them. And that is just phenomenal. It really is wonderful. Like I said, if I had the money of Greg Laurie, I would be paying somebody on top of everything else. I'd still be practicing it. I'd pay someone to come into my own private dojo and work with me. That's if I had. Thank you, Lauren. Yeah.
But wasn't martial arts originally for the peasants because they could not protect themselves, and so they had to learn to
right? They had to learn to fight. Yeah,
they had
with their farming tools.
With their farming tools.
That is exactly correct. The origin of martial arts, particularly the Chinese martial arts, the bow, the staff, the sickle, the scythe. But how do you pronounce it? SCYTH? Scythe, right?
Scythe? Yeah.
All these weird, using a hammer, using a wood axe, all these weird weapons, they are the result of brutal Oriental feudalism. Brutal Oriental feudalism. We're the only ones allowed to wield a legitimate weapon were the Praetorian class, the samurai in Japan, that kept the peasantry in place for the nobility, for the elite. And there's a problem. Well, the peasants didn't particularly like, and okay, well, what about the robbers? What about the Ronin? By the way, they love that. That's Ronin 6. That's my call sign, Ronin 6.
Isn't Keanu Reeves in that one too?
Yeah,
That
47
is
Ronin.
the bullshit that is sown again and again and again of the masterless samurai that still would give their lives for their Get the fuck out of here with that shit. All right, you know what? Just conclude right there. That's just conclude. Ronin is a masterless samurai. Technically a Ronin, not the myth and legend of the Ronin that lost their lord and spent their lives dedicated to the honor of the... Get the fuck out of here. Get out of here. And they avenge their lord, and like real men, they gut themselves at the end anyway. Fuck you. Are you kidding me? They would rather disembowel themselves than suffer the... how's that word? Ignominy? Am I saying that right? The humiliation of their dead lord. This is why to this day, samurai and just on and on, because they desperately need that. I've told you before about how the Praetorian class, how the samurai had carte blanche. They could slaughter any peasant for any whim, any reason whatsoever. They could cut an arm off a peasant just to test the sharpness of their katana. That is how evil, that is the power. And by the way, probably why Yahweh allowed the Jesuits to brutally punish Japan. And I'm tired of that. I'm tired of the Lord taking one satanic spawn and sicking them on another. Time for the righteous to be judgment. Yeah, that's how you spell it, Lauren. I want to make sure I pronounce it properly. All right. Scythe. Pronounce it the way I read it. Scythe. Okay. All right. Let me go around the horn because I know you guys all have things and you're patiently waiting for me. Let me start with William Darnell and Hawk in that. Go ahead, William. You first.
Okay. I don't have a lot of stuff. I had some things planned, but I totally forgot them. But
well, just start with now, pal. Just start with anything that you were going to talk about with what's topical, and then you can bring up whatever you as you do.
Basically, like I said, I have been watching a lot of Jesuit theater and stuff, and just starting to see between you and Clint and Oli Gamagard and everybody, seeing all these, it's just so blatant that they don't even hide it anymore. They rub it in our faces, like you said. There was one particular movie I can't remember right offhand.
Hey, Bill, how about what you sent me? Bill, how about what you sent to me? The email that you sent to me. So, Jesus Revolution is the Greg Laurie selfie movie.
Right. And then there was Fury to Freedom years ago of Raul Reese. And
is that the Raul Reese selfie movie, perhaps?
Yeah, that was one of them. But no, there was a what movie was it? Because I watched a lot of. I was getting rid of Netflix, Romeflix, and Dragon, the whore that sits on there, and what Vanity Fair was a place where the Jesuits would come in, or the dragon would come in and steal the children. Remember what we talked about what they do, what the Jesuits do to the children, with Boys Town and all that, and indoctrinate them and bugger them and all that kind of stuff. John Bunyan actually illustrates that so well in his chapter called Vanity Fair. That was, if you ever get a chance
Does
to
he
read
actually
it,
mention Rome and the Jesuits?
he doesn't mention Rome and the Jesuits, but it's so blatantly clear when you read it that by taking the children and indoctrinate them, and what? I'm serious.
It again, without the big picture, it actually helps Rome. Even though, Bill, and I'm not arguing
You mean
with
blown
you.
covers cover?
Yes, blown cover is cover. Absolutely, pal. Absolutely. If you here, listen to me, pal. Listen to me, William. It's profound to you because you have the big picture. Imagine what it's like for all of those that don't have the big picture, how lost and misguided they are by such material. It's profound to you because you know. But if you don't know, it helps to keep you in the dark. That's why. All right, Darnell, did I step on you for anything? Did you have any?
Yeah, I had just one thing. I wanted to talk about that soil tax spraying in Maui that's coming up. Basically, over in Maui, fires and whatnot, they're planning to spray a soil adhesive called Siltac over the area where the people can't go back to their houses yet. The stuff is not safe. And my concern with that nobody's saying, I'm just going to put the information about it in the chat, but my concern that nobody's talking about is if they use something to accelerate fire on that land that caught fire, something like this may help cover it up. It basically adheres to soil and sucks up water. And they're making up claims, this is used to somehow keep things from blowing into the water and contaminating the water. But it's been used in like Iraq and other Arab places to keep the soil down so that they could basically traverse the land without dust storms and stuff. But afterwards, the dust storms were worse than ever. And so this soil tax stuff, it could be covering up some of the crime is what I'm wondering about.
Wow. And that is the United States federal government doing that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because they care about you.
They do, because they love you. Soil tack. Are you kidding me?
Like you say, they lay awake late at night thinking about how to help.
If they lose sleep thinking that they would die if they knew that anything that you were getting exposed to information that you might possibly act on and maybe hurt yourself, they would just die 1,000 deaths at Google and YouTube and the government.
Oh, it's funny. What Darnell just described, though, instantly reminded me of glyphosate, which is the active ingredient in what was known as Roundup.
And look at how they're spinning this. The exact inversion. EPA starts removing hazardous materials in Lahaina. That they're adding hazardous materials to Lahaina.
And they won't let the people go on their own land to do their own cleanup of the area.
That's exactly what it says. Work must be completed before the residents are allowed to enter. That is exactly. Let me go ahead and restate what Darnell just said. Not the direct energy bullshit. It is likely, it is probable that an accelerant was used on the fires. And this is the cover-up.
Oh.
This is the cover. Go ahead.
Oh, no, just adding the fact that I think in part, and we've discussed this before, that's part of the spraying programs. So it isn't just one big dump. It's this consistent spraying, which it literally is it's a incendiary and an accelerant, and then of course
Hawk, I'm sorry, Hawk, look at the top photo, Hawk. Look at the top photo again. Melted metal. The top photo in the article is a melted boat.
Right.
utter bullshit. Let me tell you something else. So,
but the trees are still in place.
yeah, they are. Look at all around. Look at all around. The boat is melted, and that is in the photograph from the Maui news. The boat is melted, but the trees are still standing. So here's what I said. Let's see if I sent this to myself.
The 29 August date. August 29th, 1997 is going to feel pretty effing real to you too. Anybody not wearing 2 million sunblock is going to have a pretty bad day. Get it? That's the direct from Terminator 2 Judgment Day, and which is a direct allusion to the 1799 death of Paul Pius VI. Go ahead.
Did that date come up in the movie?
Yeah, Terminator 2 Judgment Day. That's the whole the big part of the big plot. Skynet goes online at 2:14 a.m. August 29th, 1997, and then I'm sorry. And then later that particular day, we have this catastrophic event that, like the explosion that incinerates, and I guess the war begins.
Good for
between AI.
You are the hawk.
Yeah,
you are the hawk. Okay, so
not always. Anyway, there we go.
When are you not? Yeah. When does something slip past you? When has anybody said, "Oh, Hawkeye missed this"?
Hey, it happens. How about this? Greg Laurie. Shares a. So there's the December 10. He's born December 10, 1952. Remember the interim between Ricci and I can't remember there's an interim Jesuit Superior General. So Laurie shares a birthday with Francis Chirurg. And then also, too, imagine this, December 10, 1520, Martin Luther burns papal bull Exsurge Domine, the bull that excommunicated Luther. So December 10, 1520, Luther publicly burned that papal bull that excommunicated him. And then we also have a death date of Gary Webb, 04. So the interesting connection between Laurie and some of our in air quotes church history.
How is that proof of what you didn't catch? You're just sharing with me shit you just caught. Stop it. Great connections. Great connections.
Yeah, in the chat, Bill just put in a YouTube video, and anybody can look at that. And as they do that overhead shot, you can see all those trees standing where everything else is burnt to a crisp.
And then the motels, you could see up ahead. It hasn't even been touched. There's sections.
It's always the big money's protected. Always.
Yeah. It was like certain houses were picked out.
And look at the channel. It's the Hawaii Real Estate Channel. Look at all the land we just bought. Yeah, look at all the land we just bought.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that resort over there. I mean,
and he's taking donations. He's begging for money now. Talking about, I've been working doing all this video for you guys. He's trying to get money.
Look at this here and this here.
Yeah.
All right, so as I was searching for background noise, I checked my subscriptions and realized that I was still subscribed to this asshole here.
That was the next one I was going to share.
Yeah, what cunt fucking thumbed down me? What fucking cunt thumbed down me? So here's what I like about this squirrel is he's relatively sincere. I think when he's wrong, I think when he gets really stupid about the cloning and the body doubles and all that, I think he's just sincerely stupid. I don't think he's trying to mislead anybody. Is going on and on about some doofus in the chat. You sent me an email. What email did they send you? Where is your email? You fucking squirrel. So he has a great point and fails to take it to its proper conclusion, which is exactly, he's questioning the direct energy. So very smart. He says a lot of this stuff is being dangled out there for you as bait. What I said that he, of course, I don't even know if he watches this shit. So if you go to his other, like I said, one of the reasons why I'm so massively hampered on Shit Shoot is besides the fact that it's intelligence owned, like British intelligence. They propagate, promulgate, enable, encourage the most nasty, racist, Jew-hating, black-hating, unbelievable. I mean, vicious, racist, anti-black comment on this assholes. This here, right here. Rigged and scripted NFL football is back. Number one comment, most recent when I saw it. Just unbelievable, racist comment. And I said this, which is what we did together, guys. We did this. We debunked a direct energy weapon vid on Shit Shoot. There was actually a power surge, a surge going up a power line. They are pushing this bullshit because it's easy to be disproven. And once that's all done, all of the crimes that were committed are equally dismissed and disproven. Like good people being burned out of their homes, and then the cockroaches in government using our tax money to buy them off. How the fuck do you thumb down this comment? Here's a novel fucking idea. If there are corporations in league with criminal government who are murdering hundreds and stealing millions, do you think that might have some clowns walking around at 3 a.m. burning cars with incendiary devices so that their shills can be out the next morning and take photographs and claim their direct energy weapons? This is no different than Jesse Ventura saying 9/11 was an inside job and then talking about the details of what brought the towers down, which I usually mock. I know I piss people off when I attack George. Mute. I don't need to hear you coughing, George. Thank you.
Well,
I will bring you on in a second.
question.
I'm not done. I will bring you on in a second. Mute through your coughing, please. Anyway, that's in relation to this. This does not have to be done by a direct energy weapon. This does not have to be done.
The grid is already established, though, like in that, which is, I don't hear being discussed. The fact that, remember, so the smart meter issue, the handheld, from handheld devices,
Oh, wow.
the how about household device, what do you call them? Sorry, like fridges, it was just
smart technology.
Yeah, but which is implanted in what? Your fridge, your stove, your washer, dryer.
My stove. Yeah.
You have there's a potential fire starter anywhere at the push of a button. Remember, this is touchless now. Even phones, it's all remote. But the grid has been established for the last 2 decades.
Yeah, I leave all options open because you're dealing with the enemy with resources beyond our level of access. So I'm thinking about all possible options.
And you don't need the classic, the Jesuit, like as George would say, the Jesuit with the matchbook to show up and light the fire. You at the touch of a button.
Right.
Yes. Mikhail, absolutely correct. Aluminum, when it is ground to a fine powder, is extremely flammable. It is a chemical accelerant. It is a chemical accelerant, and that means just like white phosphorus, water is not going to put it out. Water is not going to put it out. Great point. All right, George, go ahead. Let's go with the Maui fires first before you pull a George into other topics like that clown.
Okay.
Singer.
Okay. A couple of questions. One, are you saying that what we call direct energy weapons, have they ever been used to facilitate a fire anywhere?
Can't even get into that. Names,
know.
places, and dates. I have no opinion on that. Names, places, and dates. I have no opinion on it. I have no opinion. I'm only going to share with what I have, what I can reference. I don't even know. I mean, I'll guarantee you that the vast majority of direct energy weapon shit on the internet is shit. Okay? I will guarantee you that it's purposefully seeded misinformation. Is there absolutely, are there high-tech weapons the government is using against us? Absolutely. I'm only going to share with what I know. And this is phishing, PH phishing. You put out a bunch of stupid, you let them bite, Stu Peters, and then when everybody is bit, then you disprove it. You make everybody look like idiots, and then you disprove everything. Everything they got right is also thrown out because they went with the phishing mine. I have no idea. So again, does the government have? This is why I'm very, very precise on the Brother White Power A-bomb shit, where Brother White Power, no such thing as nuclear weapons. I don't fucking know that. I'm going to tell you that there were no atomic bombs dropped from B-29s onto Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Very, very precise. Are there weapons of mass destruction? Are they powered by some sort of nuclear fission? I don't know. I'm telling you, there were no atomic bombs, fat man on top of a little boy, dropped in 1945. That is a fraud. I'm not going to tell you anything more than that. I'm not going to go out on a limb and say there are no nuclear weapons ever. No, we're not flat earthers. We throw the bullshit flag on spinning globes. We disprove the bullshit. We don't go and stick our necks out and tell you what is, which is another thing that dumbass Jake the asshole gets into. And actually, I take that back. He's actually smart on that as well. Just goes after the AE map as being wrong. And he is good on that. I take that back. I apologize. You're still a squirrel, but you're right on that to say, I don't know what the world looks like. We don't know what it looks like. What we do know is what it doesn't fucking look like. And it's not a fucking spinning globe. Okay? So there's my long-winded answer to direct energy weapons, George. Go ahead.
Okay, in terms of saying names, places, and dates, the current FEMA director in Hawaii is Major General Kenneth Hara, the son of Gary Hara, who is also he was in the National Guard or something.
So your brother, is he the brother of Benny Hara?
I have no idea. Okay, so I know that.
Why is he a fucking general? A general of what?
There's like he was a major general in the Army National Guard. Okay, Kenneth Hara is, as I said, a major general, Army National Guard, and he's the head of FEMA.
Well, isn't that convenient? So, a United States Army general is also running FEMA in Hawaii. Well, we want the military mindset for that, don't we?
Okay, so Ken is the son of Gary, and they come from a very long line of members in the Army and so forth. They go back generations. Well, anyhow, Gary Hara got his undergraduate degree from Chaminade University in Honolulu, which was established in 1955. It's not Jesuit per se, but it is Society of Mary, which for all intents and purposes is Jesuits. So as we've established over the last almost month now, you have several players in Hawaii and the local level who have Jesuit. You have Sylvia Luke, who, as we say south of the border, Lieutenant Governor, everybody else, Lieutenant Governor of Hawaii, who got her law degree from University of San Francisco. You have the mayor of Maui.
Wait. Let's give the full Sylvia Luke, Lieutenant Governor and remind everyone, not only not born here, not even fucking American, a fucking Korean national. And she had a lot from behind the scenes when that, what's his name, that Jew, Josh Green, Dr. Green, was out and about. Okay? And she's Catholic as well, isn't she? Jesuit trained Catholic? Isn't that true? Yes, yes. All right. Now listen, young lady, this is adult language. You should not be in this room with all this bad adult language from Johnny. Johnny's being very bad right now. You make me feel bad for all the bad language I'm putting out there. Yeah, I know you've heard it before. I can't hear her. It's muted. What'd she say? You're muted. George is muted. You're muted. You're still muted, George. Oh, my word. And
Well,
you're... Wow.
All that being said,
Okay, apologize for that. I'm working on my
Need to lock your
50,000
door, George.
Fair enough. Excuse me. I'll just,
Yeah, you just darted right back in.
Yeah, and Hawkeye, I saw you put that video in about lithium ion fires. I mean, that's like evidence of, something could be used of that sort.
and any look for small device, I've got at some point. I'll send. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. No, it's just examples of these instantaneous events, from phones to e-bikes, scooters, anything electric, like even electric vehicles. This move that we're moving towards, literally, like
Aluminum, also an excellent conductor of electricity, by the way.
okay. Well, speaking of which, imagine like if is it aluminum nanoparticulate that isn't part of what's being sprayed, and whether it's daily, if not day and night, and which is something, it's ubiquitous, like the air, the water, it's everywhere. Like this idea of turning human beings into walking antennae.
With what? With what? Finish it. With the clot shot. With the clot shot. With the graphene.
With everything we've been anything that has, whether it's a graphene, but other heavy metals as well.
Brilliant. Wait, who was saying this? That part of the problem was that in Wuhan, not just did they get the shot, they were being given copious flu shots right before as well. That shit has been in the vaccines long before. Great point, Hawkeye. They have, God only knows what they've been putting in those vaccines. The graphene is not new to the corona hoax clot shot.
Do you remember, was it a lead? Okay, there was lead previous to aluminum, and aluminum was used as an adjuvant around the 1900, like the end of the 1800s into the 1900s. Prior to aluminum being used in injections, it was, I think, lead was the primary, one of the heavy metals used. Anyway, this has been going on for well over a century.
Absolutely. What great point. I want to say it was Young. What's his name? The Mormon holistic doctor. Robert Young? Robert Young. I want to say it was Robert Young that brought that up for me. The role of the flu shot in preparation for the scamdemic. I want to give that Robert Young. I think that was okay. All right, wait. One more, but let me. This tab is open. Let me share this tab. Oh, I can't remember who shared this with me. Forgive me, guys. Whichever one of my beloved flying monkeys shared this with me. Pandora Papers data leak. Scandalous Catholic order. Oh, so scandalous Catholic order discovered to have $300 million in offshore trusts. Which scandalous Catholic order? Oh, the Pandora Papers. Oh, they'll never do that again. Oh, the Pandora Papers have struck. The Pandora Papers have struck. Which order? Hang on. Which order is it? The Legionnaires of Christ. The inversely named Legionnaires of Christ. You guys know the Legionnaires of Christ? I've covered them. I've covered their founder more. The redundantly named Marcial Maciel. A serial scumbag. Hey, I forgot to share that with you guys. Stand by. Zoom just shat itself. And you know what? After shitting itself, it's not no audio. An absolute serial demon, pervert, deviant. Yet not only did he father as many as 6 children, he had raped his own boys. Sexually abused many boys, including his own sons, maybe sons, multiple. I know for a fact at least one of his own sons he's sexually abused. What a demon.
Sick, very sick individual.
Yeah, real sick.
Yeah, there's just noting as well, second paragraph down, 06, Benedict XVI removed Maciel from active ministry based on the results of an investigation he had started in his previous role. So Benedict's previous role is the head of the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith.
Hey, listen, where would we be if the Catholic Church didn't police itself? Because the fucking cops don't do the fucking job. So the good men from the Catholic Church police themselves. He'll never do that again. Removed him from active ministry. Oh, he'll never rape his own son again.
Isn't Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith, isn't it the renaming of the Inquisition?
Yes, it is.
That's what I thought.
You know, God's judgment is so perfect. That guy's fire is going to burn so hot for what he did.
Indeed.
It's gonna make up for everything man missed in judgment and more.
Indeed. All right, I had that tab up. I can now take that tab down. Let me make sure. All right, George, hang on. Here we go, George. So, George, I asked this question before you came online. I asked this question. This fucking clown is as much a one-hit wonder as anything. A one-hit wonder. And yet this fucking guy, is it going to give me his net worth?
At least $1 billion.
Breaded circus. $1 billion.
At what, one with a B, Bravo? With a B, Bravo?
Yes, but yes. Well, thank you for.
Are you? Wait a minute, hang on, pal. $1 billion. How the fuck did this one-hit wonder accrue $1 billion?
They said it was from his books, and he was an entrepreneur.
He had a channel on Sirius XM. Well, before I canceled my subscription, he had one.
A billionaire.
And he just, in my town, come to think of it, speaking of this guy, he has a chain of bars called Margaritaville, and they're building a brand new one here in my hometown. But I guess he won't be making any appearances.
And Hawkeye, you'll like this. Do you know his birthday? December 25th, 1946. You're on mute, Hawk.
You're muted, pal. The Hawk is muted.
Oh, I just said, we could say Merry Christmas again.
Yeah. Thank goodness, like Tony Perkins, you turd. We're so thankful for Donald Trump being president because now we could say Merry Christmas again. Wow, Victor. Oh, drop the mic. Drop the mic. We win.
I think he could have been a planned birth. I really do.
Like Justin Castro Trudeau.
Yeah.
All right, George, finish.
Circus.
Agreed.
Okay, so you probably covered most of the points. So you probably discussed the fact that he went to at least 2 different Catholic schools, including Ignatius School in Mobile, Alabama. He went to McGill Academy in Mobile, not to be confused with McGill University in Montreal. So he was double dipped, and in all fairness, he wasn't one hit wonder. He was like a 2 or 3 hit wonder. The aforementioned Margaritaville and Come Monday. Now it's interesting. The opening line of Come Monday, he says he's going to San Francisco for the Labor Day weekend show. Well, it's interesting. He died on Friday the 1st, which is Labor Day weekend. And it was actually making reference to a conference or a concert he was going to be doing, or he did back in 1973, roughly 50 years ago to the day. So Johnny was asking, how is it he was able to accrue all this wealth with just a handful of hits in this restaurant chain? And he did some cameos in movies and TV shows where he basically played himself.
And he wrote some books. He's a bestseller.
Yeah. Well, going to being trained with the Jesuits, that gives you, that's helpful. Which brings up a question. Most artists and bands have done this. They're popular in a decade, the 1960s or the 1970s, and they basically spend the rest of their career resting on their laurels. There have been a few exceptions. I mean, case in point, talk about the Beach Boys. Almost all their hits were during the 1960s. But they spent 50 plus years just having like reunion tours. And I remember Jimmy Buffett was so popular because I'd hear ads for his concerts on the radio. It said, "Oh, get your tickets before they sell out," or "We're having a raffle as to you can get a free Jimmy Buffett ticket." And I guess this whole thing was goes back to at least the Beatles, how the Jesuits through their media manufacture interest. They create scarcity. Oh, get it now before supplies run out. Get your ticket now before we sell out. And did I answer your question, Johnny? Or Bill, or
yeah, sorry. Play or die.
Yeah.
Play or die.
Yeah, play or die. Yeah.
Speaking
Although
of,
it doesn't, I don't think it applies. I don't think it applies to that piece of shit because he's a billionaire out there, a full-on demon spawn, rabid far left piece of shit who politically enabled the likes of Hillary Clinton with his billions. A full-on Luciferian scumbag.
That's right. He did contribute. He was one of the biggest contributors to.
Go ahead, Darno.
yeah, I wanted to mention Fat Bob's Funk Corner mentioned a 2019 Vanity Fair article that I've linked in chat where Jimmy Buffett had some good ties to Jeffrey, well, not good, but some ties to Jeffrey Epstein that they exposed. So he probably was into that game. Johnny, I don't know if you wanted to mention Jimmy Buffett's background, his upbringing, schooling, perhaps? He's gone away for a sec.
That's okay. If you got it, hit it.
Yeah, basically, Jimmy Buffett was raised up in Catholic school. It's even on Wikipedia. He came up in a Catholic school.
You got the name for that?
Yeah, let me see if I can find that.
Thank you.
What else goes to?
Didn't George say? George, didn't you say he was double dipped?
At least he went to Ignatius Primary School in Mobile, and he went to McGill Academy, I guess in Mobile.
Yeah, both are listed here and put the link in.
His father, forgot his name, but I can go look it up. He was Army Corps of Engineers, and that sounds suspicious. I mean, I can't go anywhere with that, but it sounds suspicious. So how is it that there's somebody who was from the Gulf Coast, Mississippi, Alabama, who had a very modest upbringing, how is it that he became one of the big pop stars of the 1970s? And I remember like Margaritaville, back in the day, it was on every radio station. And
Yeah, that's all we remember about that fuck is Margaritaville. It's the only fucking thing that asshole ever did. One fucking song. I remember Margaritaville. Yeah, it's all he fucking knew about that fucking clown. How is that asshole?
Did Come Monday. He also did Come Monday. Was another song.
I don't fucking know that stupid fucking song. Fuck that guy. Are you kidding me? How is that guy a billionaire? Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. Him being far left is the mark of the fucking beast. The Satan knew that if he threw billions at that cockroach, that would go just like when the Lord expects us. When the Lord blesses us, the Lord expects us to sow those blessings proper. Satan knew when he threw his money at that asshole, at that piece of shit Buffett, that money would go to all of Satan's top projects. Mm-hmm. That's the mark of the beast. That is the mark of the beast. Not a Sunday law. That is the mark of the beast.
Absolutely.
Well, here's something, and Wikipedia is quick to point out that no, Jimmy Buffett was no relations to Warren Buffett. We will repeat, Jimmy Buffett was no relations to Warren Buffett because they actually did a DNA test that proves they weren't related. They did a 23andMe. So, does that mean he was related to Warren Buffett?
That means you should trust that junk test.
I wouldn't trust any kind of test.
Exactly.
Even the so-called carbon dating.
Especially carbon dating.
When it comes to carbon dating and DNA and all that, I'm throwing in the bullshit. The patented Johnny Cerrucci, Bill Munsell bullshit flag.
You don't even have to guess, Bill. You don't even have to guess. Didn't our dear friend Christian J. Pinto show for us conclusively that all that dating stuff, especially the stuff that's related to dating of documents and all that higher criticism and all that bullshit directly traces back to the Roman Catholic Church. Directly traces back because they have a cottage industry of fabricating relics that they make.
Fabricating relics, fabricating history. That's why our history is so screwed up.
Hawkeye, how many arms does Francis Xavier have? Doesn't he look like Shiva the Destroyer? He's got like 400 arms as they're driving him down the highway. Here's the 66th arm of Francis Xavier waving at you down the road. He's now making his tour.
The arm that supposedly baptized hundreds of thousands
of young boys
in India and set fires and slit the throats of how many? Yeah, remember crossed my country, 2018, east to west, and then wow, that yeah. And then but the crowds of that severed arm drew, and the emotion it provoked. When you see people weeping before a relic behind plexiglass, and this relic is put in front of in a cathedral, the weeping, and then the people come up and kiss it, bowing before it, kissing it, or the glass, of course. This is on another level. Like I had no clue the power of just real time, that how real that this is to many people. And Doc wrote a brilliant article on johnnycerrucci.com on relics, because go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, in relation to that, I just posted 3 videos that dispute DNA for anybody who thinks DNA is good and reliable.
Because DNA can be altered to, it could be set up it's like deep fake. It's everything that they come up with. They're coming up more and more things to frame people and to cover up, to cover their tracks or their ass.
Yeah, and the first 2, the first one I put in there was from CBS This Morning. Second one was PBS Frontline. These are sources that, even the normies would rely on. Is okay. And then third one is Tom Cowan basically giving a full breakdown.
Here are Chinese nationals crying deeply over the death of mass murdering monster Mao Zedong. He's definitely someone who needs to be cried over. No different than weeping over the arm of Francis Xavier.
I wonder though, like this is the idea though that between the sexes, like in this particular photo you've got pulled up, like there's two men and the majority women. Again, this is just a photograph that it's a small snippet, but just noting.
Yeah, and this poor guy looks like he's constipated. He doesn't look like he's crying. He looks like he's got some sort of intestinal issue.
He's putting it on thick a little.
Yeah, right. A little thick, about as thick as that headdress he's wearing. So, Fat Bob, you're not necessarily a regular. Yeah, we are quite familiar with Dave Laurel Kenyon McGowan, the late Dave McGowan. We're quite familiar with him. I regularly thank the late Dave for fabricating. I mean, he predated me a little bit on broaching the systemic child sex slavery issue, and I sort of tongue-in-cheek thank him for the wordy pedopocracy. He allowed me to be the one to coin the term pedocracy. So we are well familiar with Dave McGowan, and even Dave, with his early death, still didn't quite come close to Rome and the Jesuits and the big picture. So, yeah, we're quite familiar with Dave McGowan. All right.
Early death, but if I remember right, he was a heavy smoker. So the thing is, there's the uncertainty.
Let me say something, and once again, Hawk, we don't know. I will say for McGowan's early death may have had no human agency involved at all. If there was an impetus that made Dave McGowan die sooner than later, I would say it was an interdimensional one. So, again, one of those situations where I just don't know where the physical hands stop and the interdimensional hands start. Yes, I know.
Yeah, we are familiar with Sage of Quay.
Mike Sage of Quay Williams, another guy, and I think that guy is controlled opposition. I think
Roman Catholic.
Roman Catholic Williams, you better believe that guy knows the crimes of his church. Omerta. Not a word from that guy. That guy is a piece of shit. That guy is controlled opposition. He knows what he isn't. There's things he's holding back from his audience. The great truther, Mike Williams, Sage of Quay. You wonder why. I bet you that guy's a fucking millionaire too. I'll bet you that guy's a fucking millionaire. Just like Falconer. Just like old Steve Falconer. Another made man. Made by not telling you the full truth from the whore of Babylon. All right, we've zipped through.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention real quick. Remember in Maui, they want to do rapid DNA, and people give them stuff for rapid DNA.
What does that even mean? I mean, that's like mRNA or RNA therapy. Just stop. It's the same people that to this very day will still put on the honorific doctor on the most demonic mass murderers, Dr. Fauci. They call him, his name is Fauci. Dr. Fauci. That inquisitional, that Jesuit, that lay Jesuit, short-robed Jesuit demon. How do you say Fauci and not say AIDS? And how do you say AIDS, corona hoax, Fauci, and never say Catholic Rome Jesuit? You're either an idiot or you're a fraud.
And we'll address readdress what Fat Bob's comments. Like, yes,
All right, stop. So Fat Bob, I'm sorry, Hawk. I didn't mean to step on you.
No.
Well, he is Roman Catholic, but he exposed Tavistock. Fuck. They can give you symptoms all fucking day long. Of course they have legitimacy on the symptoms. Of course he's got legitimacy on symptoms. That's fucking, you could wipe Tavistock out and not do a fucking thing. We go after the head of the Hydra that won't grow back. I'm sorry, Hawk. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say the same thing, but the fact that, sure, Williams's work, the Paul is dead narrative, Tavistock, might even be second to none, literally. But where does he intentionally drop? Again, not going for the head of the Hydra that won't grow back. Won't touch the Brian Epstein part of the Beatles narrative. Will go in other directions, but never tie Rome in to the narrative, and of which thus avoids the big picture.
Right.
And it's not saying we're arguing here, but it's just okay. We it's not like he's not unknown to us. We know, but there's clearly, again, what's the mark of the beast? Thoughts leading to actions that please Rome, that please the whore, the great harlot, the fourth and final beast of Daniel and Revelation.
And when you go after those people, give them the truth when it comes to the Jesuit behind it all.
Yeah,
they pull a Homer Simpson.
The bigger question is, does Williams willingly know that he's providing cover for the great harlot? And if so, of course, then he is an intentional deceiver. Back to this idea, though, if you're doing this work full time or a large part of your time to never eventually arrive at Jesuit Vatican, Rome, papacy, you clearly haven't arrived, or you're providing cover.
Right. And when you're talking about music and all these musical trends, you're talking about the CIA. And where do a lot of the CIA members come from? Georgetown. And what is Georgetown? I mean, you gotta link it into the Jesuits. It all links back to Rome.
So yeah, and Fat Bob, the Beatles hypnotized my entire generation. Absolutely. And George is good on this. No idea just how. Okay, so think about this, Bob. Bob, think about this. All right, so Dave McGowan and Mike Williams will help show you how contrived the sex, drugs, and rock and roll culture of the 60s was. What is the far more important, critical question, the follow-on question that neither of those guys, nobody asked but us? What the fuck is the CIA doing creating rock bands for? What the fuck is the CIA doing putting LSD on the city streets? What is the CIA doing paying feminists to be themselves? What was it? Allred? Was it Allred that was on the CIA payroll? Timothy Francis Leary was on the CIA payroll, and then they basically virtually lobotomized that poor bastard. Hang on, let me answer the question, George. All right, George, give me it quickly. I got to answer this question.
I believe you have her conflated with Gloria Steinem.
Was Steinem the one that got the CIA paycheck, George?
I believe so.
Yeah, that's what I think it was.
Thank you. So I got the two Glorias mixed up. That's a good interjection, George. Here is the answer. The CIA's sworn duty to uphold and protect and defend. Fucking Zoom picked up my hand. Are you fucking kidding me? Fucking Zoom picks up my hand and raises. Are you fucking kidding me? How about this? Does Zoom pick this up?
What did it do?
Zoom raises the hand icon on my screen for me. If I hold this up long enough, Zoom will make my hand, Zoom will make my as if you're in a classroom. Zoom sees me raising my hand and creates and lifts the reaction.
Wow. Okay.
Didn't see it on this end.
Wow. The most important question those guys never ask. What the fuck is the CIA doing? Why? They're sworn to uphold and defend the Constitution, and they at absolute inverse. They are the Constitution. They are the biggest enemies of the American people. The United States government has conducted crimes against the American people that America's enemies could only dream of. How is that possible? It's because the United States government, the CIA, the FBI, the NSA, they don't answer to you. They answer to a sovereign, foreign, malignant entity, the city-state of Rome. And they always have from their founding. My old Bill Donovan creating the OSS, Charles Joseph Bonaparte creating the Federal Bureau of Inquisition, the NSA founded in Maryland's city of Maryland State. Okay? Those are the critical questions, big picture questions those guys never ask Mike Sage of Coy Williams because that fucker knows better. Because that fucker is controlled opposition. His loyalty, just like Jerry Boykin with his Knight of Malta, that bastard's loyalty is to Rome first. Even if it means doing you harm.
Yeah, warmth towards the whore. It means you're allegiant. You will always honor her first.
So surprise, surprise, they're saying that the stream is looping. What a surprise, as I'm coming to the most important. So guys, common sense, guys, if you're in the audience, you got to refresh. Okay, it wasn't necessarily looping for me. Guess what? This is why I record on my end. Okay, refresh your browsers. I've got to close out anyway. I will upload my copy like I always do. Surprise, surprise. When I'm getting you the most important question to be asked.
Yeah, I tried watching it. It's hung on the line.
All right. I'm not even gonna reset it on OBS. I'm just gonna upload this. We'll go around the horn. And Dave says the refresh is not helping. Don't worry about Dave. Just catch the full show when I upload. Surprise, surprise. That's when it starts to have problems. All right, guys. Around the horn. I will do. I'll do a W. I'll skip myself. I'll do William, George, Darnell, and the Hawk. William first. Go.
We already did this earlier, so I covered everything. So I'll pass.
All right, pal. George, this is closing, so you need to be quick, please.
Okay, I did a Google search this morning on crisis actor, and it came up on Google, and alternatives for that will be crisis patients or crisis victims. And it starts out fairly neutral. So this is something that emergency service agencies like EMTs, firefighters have been using for decades. They'll have people who apparently have been victims of something like a ostensibly natural disaster, shooting, bombing, whatever, and they'll simulate a real disaster. But then, if you go on down the list, they'll say, however, in recent years, conspiracy theorists, particularly online conspiracy theorists, have completely warped the whole idea. They're saying that certain events in recent years either didn't take place or because they're complete hoaxes, or they're a combination of real and bogus. And they relied heavily on crisis actors, people who were supposed to have limbs blown off at places like the Boston Marathon bombing back in 2013. So I thought that if you go into ostensibly a neutral site, they're just supposed to do Friday price. They're supposed to just give you the facts, ma'am. Whereas if you look at anything, crisis actor, viruses, germ versus terrain theory, they always spin it. It's almost always negative. And therefore, you don't know what to believe. Now, if, say, 5 or 10 years ago, they might have been able to get more accurate information. But it seems as if every year, say the last decade or so, they seem to be ramping up the censorship and rewriting history and current events to where it's difficult to find out what the truth is. Now, I'm not puffing you up, Johnny. It's just like, I'm glad I came across you 2015, 2016, because if I had not heard of you, I probably would never have seen any of your videos now. So
yeah, hey pal. So you missed earlier. We did cover this as I started the show. I was complimenting our friend Bill Hughes for his courage to discuss false flags when really nobody else does. Not even Walter Veith. Walter hit that up 2 or 3 times, and has the general conference has put him in his place. He does not touch false flags anymore. And as a result of complimenting Bill, I sent Bill our Ola Damagard interviews and recommended Ola, even though Ola is not born again. He's very new age-ish, but he is one of the best on false flags. And I ended up just pulling up for background noise some of Ola's old work. And he covered, and if there's anybody that I trust to talk about crisis actors, a lot of times you get a lot of bullshit. A lot of times you get lookalikes. Oh, look at this. Jimmy Carter was there at the Boston Marathon bombing. Did you know that? Oh, no. John F. Kennedy is actually Jimmy Carter. Did you know that? Get out of here with that Russian vids shit. Okay? That kind of facial recognition bullshit, that Photoshop bullshit. However, when the media themselves admit they actually use the Jesuit propagandist scum, admit this, it's blown cover as cover. For instance, this clown crisis actor, Chris Pawley, Pawly, was supposedly miraculously escaped. Here we go. Miraculously escaped. So he was at the Ariana Grande jihadi bombing Manchester Arena. That's in England. And then he was also at the Barcelona jihadi van ramming. What a miracle that this guy should have gotten through 2 separate jihadi terror attacks in one piece. What a miracle. Allah be praised.
Speaking of Photoshop, that's a poor looking photo.
Well, yeah, but it's funny because it's perfect. It's perfect. A bad Photoshop of this crisis actor, blown cover as cover. What happens when you really do see the same fucking people at these same events over and over and over again? Well, the media will actually show this. This is much better evidence of a false flag narrative than any Photoshopped bullshit. What we did with Justin Castro Trudeau is infinitely better than, oh, look, Trudeau looks just like Castro. Well, how about this? How about the facts that the Trudeaus, the Roman Catholic Trudeaus, were so close to Castro that they were getting people pissed off?
That's why you call it names, places.
Oh, love you, William. Names, places, and dates. Not Russian vids bullshit. Names, places, and dates. There she is, Maggie Trudeau. They buried her in a I think she's still alive. They're gonna bury her in a Y-shaped coffin, as the Rowan Atkinson joke goes. All right. So who was next? Is there anybody? Darnell, did you have your turn, Darnell, pal? No, I think you're next, Darnell, and then the Hawk.
Yeah. Real quick, I'll just say Labor Day, communist holiday, which means it's a Jesuit holiday, but enjoy the day off anyway.
Home run. Labor Day, September 1st, Labor Day, and the Hawk.
Okay, remember, so today, 3 September, we go back to, I've brought this up lately a few times, September 3rd or 3 September 1539, the day that Ignatius Loyola, and this is given from a Jesuit website source, the day that Loyola presented the formula to Alessandro Farnese, Pope Paul III, and the Paul III's exclamation, "This is the finger stroke of God." 3 September 1539. I also wanted to mention, I've got a note. At some point, Johnny, you've mentioned.
Oh, we can't go. Fuck, we can't go. We can't go. There is something huge that I have to get to. Hawk, I'm sorry for stepping on you. Finish your thought.
It's okay. Good. Oh no. So, looking up the bill. So the Bill of Rights. This is a special date just for you, Captain, and then also too noting. Where's Jesuit Pope Francis today? From the 31st of August to the 4th of September, there's a visit to Mongolia. So I don't it's just something to acknowledge. Him traveling in a wheelchair, and yeah, that this is very interesting narrative still being sewn and weaved together. Anyway, you're gonna hit.
I'm gonna do one last.
Just look up the American Bill of Rights. The date. You had mentioned it in a recent stream. Had mentioned the. It's not just about the Constitution, but the addition of the Bill of Rights, and it has a significant date to us that it was. And I think in part you were right that it was a
ratification.
No, the first inception of the American Bill of Rights. 25th September 1789.
Yeah, I was tracking that. The good reminder though. I was tracking that. Outstanding, powerful.
Yeah.
I really should close out, but I've got to cover this as a very important warning. A very important warning. Now, where are my notes on this? Oh, please. Where are my notes on this? I didn't give myself an email, but I have it in Christians in Question. Where is John Paul? Well, I need to cover this. I'm just going to skim over it now and close out. We're going to cover this with John Paul because John Paul got some kind of... Was John Paul connected, Bill, World's Last Chance? No, I think he said that it was popped up on his feed. He wasn't necessarily tagged, but X recommended to John Paul World's Last Chance. Let me tell you something. These are World's Last Jesuits.
Absolutely.
These are World's Last Jesuits. They are very big. Let me tell you why. Go ahead, Bill.
They're very big on the Jewish calendar. They think the Sabbath was, does not follow the Gregorian calendar. On their website, they have it where what the Jewish calendar says and then what the Gregorian calendar says, and all the dates are off. All the days are off.
Okay, well, why is that even an issue at all? It's an issue because, let me explain. It's an issue because they are World's Last Jesuits. There are zero names identified with this organization, with this hub, with this whatever it is. Zero. No one is identified. No one. Not a single name. No one. Their video and audio is predominantly English accent, and they claim that they're out of Maine.
And production, from what I remember, is
production is top notch.
Top notch, yes. I used to watch those videos.
Guys, in our community, people who are aware of the Jesuits fall prey to a host of heresies, and it's very consistent. This legalistic Sabbath keeping is a big heresy, is a big problem within our community of those who are awake to the identity of the Antichrist And these clowns, world's last Jesuits, are huge. They are hyper legalistic to the point of saying, you Saturday Sabbath keepers are sinners. You're wrong. You don't even keep the Sabbath on the right Sabbath. That's how wrong you are. That's how intensely satanically legalistic. And that's just one heresy.
And the Baptists are the same way with Sunday. You know, they make it sound like, oh, if you miss a Sunday, oh, you're a sinner.
Their biggest look at this. They're also sacred name heretics. They're huge on the Yahuwah, hoo-ha.
Yes, they are. That's where a lot of it came from.
Sacred name. And look at this. The alleged deity, in quotes, of Christ. They are huge on blaspheming the Savior through this Trinity fraud.
Deity is not an idol, a demonic idol.
They are Arian, Jesuit, demon scum. They are Jesuit, Arian, demon scum. The alleged deity of Christ. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? What does John say? Who is Antichrist? I'll read it for you. 1 John. Hang on. I have it at the end of my notes, I believe. Come on, where is this? It's in my... I sent myself an email. Pretty sure it's 1 John.
Looks like they're flat earthers too.
Bill, that's the legitimacy. They go after the Jesuits, and they go after the spinning globes, and they hook you, and then they destroy you with all of these heresies. Who is the liar? But the one who denies that Jesus is the Christ, and such a person is Antichrist, denying the Trinity, both Father and Son. 1 John 2 and 22. 2, the number of the witness. The number of the witness. World's last Jesuits. Yeah. There we go.
200,000 members. Over 200,000.
Says them. Says them. As they attack the Trinity. And let me tell you, this is why I firmly believe that Steve Wahlberg's not just born again. Steve Wahlberg has the Holy Spirit on him in his Adventist chains. He is a good and sincere man, sadly chained by a woman-made Freemasonic religion. And yet that man did a phenomenal debunking of this anti-Trinity foolishness. Steve's lecture series on the Trinity is out of the park. Well done, home run. Proving this Jesuit heresy to be right from the mouth of Satan through these scum here. And what is this? Is this, the Trinity comes from the Catholic Church. Look there, it's in Latin. See that? All right, guys, I'll do this again. I'll hit this again tomorrow. But
and thus, then I'll just add, and thus, I think in part, the resurgence, whether it's the masking, but also the renaming, or the now named, so the EG.5, and in part, like I had mentioned, it's symbolic of Ellen G. Gould White.
It's a hat tip. To the General Conference.
Yeah.
General Conference, but also back to this idea, just as in the first version being pointing to the Queen of Heaven. This is all about the Queen of Heaven.
Hey, that Johnny's Bike Shop does not count as a flying monkey paraphernalia. Close. And you know what? It's uniquely the Hawk. It's uniquely the Hawk. Are you riding again? How have you been riding?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's why you're doing broadcasts with your bicycle cap on.
Yeah, he had a real bicycle cap on the other night. It's
Yeah,
one of those
no, he's
trying
competitive.
to-
He's a competitive rider. He used to compete before his accident.
I'm not competing now. No, far from.
But
far
you
from
did
it.
before your accident. You were a competitive rider. So
That's another story. Yeah.
another story for another time.
Story.
All right, guys. Well done.
Yep.
Much
Well
love
done.
to you, each and every one of you. Sorry about this interruptions. It's par for the course. It's what they do. Be strong and courageous because resistance is rising. Love you guys. Well done today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey,
Thank
wait,
everyone.
real quick. Are we going to go tomorrow? Holiday tomorrow. We're going to go tomorrow?
I can't do tomorrow.
I'm up for tomorrow. I can do tomorrow.
Go for it.
Okay, Darnell won't be
engage.
around, but stay tuned, guys. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Hawk, maybe?
Yep.
Okay. All right, good. All right, we'll probably do it. Love you guys. Be strong, courageous.